Jodie.
And what do you do for a living?
I'm a preschool teacher.
Hi.
I'm so excited. Sorry, I'm like so sweaty.
Oh, it's okay.
I wanted to get something in honor of my mom, who we lost June 5th of 2020. It's been kind of wild. So not long before everything had happened, they have this beautiful like pole barn, and around it she has planted flowers, of course, and they had put down river rock. And she had just bought a new sign that said welcome, and it had a whole row of like white daisies. And they just got it all set up not long before that. And she loved it. It looked so good out there. And so after everything had happened, my mom loved the 4th of July. Loved it. And we were like, oh, let's go to all the fireworks we can last year. So we're like, let's go. We picked a town and we're like, let's just go for it. And we didn't know where we were going. We didn't know where we were going to park. We didn't know where we were around. We just found a place other cars were parking, so we just pulled in. And as we were about to watch the fireworks, across the street was this house who had just put up that sign, the same welcome sign with the daisies on it. So we're like, what are the chances that they would have that exact sign with the daisies on it? Like, I feel like they're just everywhere when we need it or need to feel like she's there. It's been really cool.
Lost her. So we were like,
So
what?
I've
Like,
never seen.
and we didn't even know what they were called.
No, we had
Yeah.
never seen them before.
So, is that like each petal, or
yeah,
is it
it's like
kind
a
of
whole
like?
bloom.
Okay, I'll have to look up each.
But I mean, she had flowers everywhere. There was just flowers and flowers.
Flower.
Loved them. I don't know where it started, how it started, when it started, but I know that every year when it came time to go to greenhouses and that you could plant flowers, every weekend we were going to a greenhouse somewhere. Didn't matter where it was. She loved going and finding all the colorful flowers, all the flowers, and just decking their house out with flowers. They were everywhere. And then when we walked into Grant's waiting room and we saw a picture of a huge white daisy on river rocks. It was just huge, right on the wall. The whole wall was this picture. And we're like, whoa, like that's crazy. Like, that's a sign. It has to be. It's right in our face.
It's an interesting thing to me of what happens when someone dies and the things that people notice. And whether it be messages from the other side or just those coincidental things, I don't know. But the daisy, how she spoke about it just being there in the sign that her mom had just purchased, on the wall at the hospital she actually snapped a picture of the daisy that was on the wall at the hospital, and that was the actual daisy that I used in her tattoo. An element, especially with memorial pieces, and hopefully this will help in your healing process, but somebody's gonna see it and say, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Are you ready for that?
Yeah.
Okay, so like I just want
so
you
ready.
right, I just want to make sure, because a lot of people, they don't want to discuss what it is that has had them put something on their arm, and especially when it's like names and dates and things like that. So
Our mom, it's almost hard to describe her. She was probably the most selfless, welcoming, open, loving, caring person you could ever imagine. She went big for everything. If it was our 4th birthday, she was having the biggest party. If it was our 12th birthday, the biggest party. When we were 18, the biggest party. For Easter, I mean, I'm 31, my sister's almost 40, and we still got Easter baskets from our mom. Like, she never slacked on anything. We were just the center of her world.
So, great. So I'm gonna turn you around so you can see it. So I used the exact daisy from the hospital that you sent me, and then I just tied in like little type of accent flowers.
I do too. It looks so good. And I had gotten off work early that day, which is pretty normal for me, but I was like, okay, I need to get my little girl home and take a nap. And I drive by my parents' house to go home every day, and they were getting ready for a garage sale. And we got a text from my cousin that just said 911 at your mom and dad's. And so we're like, what? Like, that's weird. And then I noticed it was to me and my sister and her husband. I thought, like, that's not good. So I just yelled down to my husband, like, I gotta go. 911. Like, I don't know what that means. So I just got in my car, and I literally lived 2 miles away, and I probably went 75 to get there. And there was, my aunt was out by the road just swinging her arms, yelling to point people where to go. And in my mind, I had no clue what to expect. I was like, oh, somebody might have just broke their arm, broke their leg, and they can't help them. Like, I genuinely did not think anything negative was gonna happen. I was like, it's fine. Because my dad had just fallen off of a ladder like 2 years prior. And when we got there and I saw my mom, I was like, oh, this is not good. The thing is, nobody was with her in the area that it happened. My aunt had just walked out to go get something. So nobody, I mean, we generally don't know exactly what had happened. And we were just so optimistic that it was kind of funny to look at now and be like, wow, like, we were so clueless. We're sending her to Grant, like, by flight to Grant. Okay, like, we do this all the time, it's just a precaution. So optimistic about it. And I remember the nurse pulling me aside and being like, she does have a small brain bleed. I mean, like, oh, it's fine. Like, it happens every day. People are fine after that. You know, my mom was like the rock and the strong person, and never got hurt and never showed that she was hurt. And so we're like, oh, she's fine. Like, she can make it through anything.
It was just really, it was sad to hear her talk about losing her mom and just everything's fine, and you know, then the next minute it's not fine, and you have to learn to live without this person in your life.
And rushing in, and they just put us in this waiting room. We walked in, and that's where like the daisy hit us, and a few other things really hit us in that waiting room that were like, whoa, like this is crazy. You know, there was a daisy on River Rock, and my mom had just put down like River Rock and this beautiful welcome sign that had daisies on it by their barn where she had just fallen. We're like, this is crazy. And then they had this wall of heroes, which is like for organ donation at Grant. There's a wall of heroes with all their pictures and their hero date. And I remember being like, oh, I don't even want to look at it. And there was an empty spot. So I was like, I'll just keep walking. And so I just kept walking to the empty spot. And when I finally looked over, the first one I saw was my birthday, was his hero day. I thought, whoa, like, that's weird too. Nobody is allowed to stay right now with COVID. Like, you want to go home? Like, yeah, we're gonna go home, it's gonna be fine. And they put us in another room. Like, okay, like, this is fine. And I mean, I was like, okay, I have to go get my charger or something out of my car. And I remember walking down downtown Columbus, and my grandma and all her siblings and a few of my cousins were all just sitting on the street. And we were like, oh, like, what's happening? I don't know, like, she's gonna be fine. She's went in for a surgery, it's brain surgery, like, it's a big deal, like, it's gonna be a long recovery, but it's gonna be fine. And we were just had that mentality pretty much the whole time. So I remember getting my phone charger and walking back and talking, and then my sister calling me, just freaking out, like, you need to get up here now, you need to get up here now, everybody's running. She's screaming at me to get to the room. I'm like, okay, like, I gotta go, and everybody's freaking out. I'm like, I don't know what's happening, I'm not up there. So I get up there, and my sister and my daughter are so worked up and like freaking out that of course I was like, oh, like, it's fine, you know, just try to be the voice of reason always for some reason. And the surgeon finally came in. I don't even know the timeline of this, and he basically just said, like, this is not good, this isn't a recoverable injury to her brain. And we just, I mean, like, screaming at him, we screamed bloody murder at the surgeon, like, oh, like, screaming. And he just like kind of tried to gently tell us, and we knew then. And he was like, she's gonna be coming back out soon, but they're still doing things, still working on her. We're like, okay. He's like, but you're more than welcome to come. We're like, whoa, like, yeah, of course, like, we want to be with her, absolutely, it doesn't matter what it is, like, we're there. So they like wheeled her by, and they're like, we'll come get you. They came and got us and walked us down to the ICU, and we just see this huge group of doctors and nurses, and we're like, whoa, like, what is happening? And we stood there, what felt like an eternity, watching, 20 plus doctors and nurses with coolers and hooking this up and doing that and just holding her hand and like talking to her because it was so long. And then finally they like called something off. They're like, all right, she's considered like resuscitated. We were like, what? Like, what? Nobody said that. Like, he just said, it wasn't good. So, they just kind of cleaned everything up, and there we sat. And we were like, okay, like, now what? And they told us that we could have our families come back. And we're like, oh, like, well, there's a lot. And that's when we knew, like, it probably wasn't good. And there was a nurse on the staff that night who was just like an angel. Her name was Jennifer. And she was like, yeah, it's fine. Just tell them it's this room. And of course, riots were going on then downtown. So they were sending like little notes that we were like sending to them in text to get them to show the police to let them through, because at that point it was probably 12:31 in the morning, and we basically got to watch our whole family say goodbye to Mom. And I mean, she was really it for our family. Like, genuinely the person that if there was a problem, if there was a happy thing, if there was a sad thing, like, she was the first person every single person called. Everybody, for everybody. It didn't matter what it was, if it was good, bad, ugly. She was your person, because you knew that she was gonna get you through whatever it was. And so to watch them all say goodbye to that person as well was like, it's just the worst thing in the world. And it went on till like 4 or 5 in the morning of just them coming back and being able to like say goodbye to her. That was awful. It was awful, especially on my sister, because she stayed in the room the whole time. And it was just hard. And then my sister and I got to stay. Like, they pretty much, after everybody was over, we got to stay. And we slept in chairs with begging for blankets, just in chairs, just laying on her Friday night. And then they sent us home. Saturday night, we just went home. And we had told them, like, you know, she's registered as an organ donor. Like, what can we do with that? And they were like, oh, wow, like, yeah, this is great. We usually don't even look that up yet. And so we were able to get in touch with Lifeline of Ohio, and they like took over at that point. Like, once everything's official, they'll come in. And we got to meet some really amazing people at Lifeline who just, I mean, saviors from Lifeline that just helped us so much and explained every ounce of this process and how it was gonna go and what to expect. And they told us, all right, like, we'll see you on what we call Hero Day, which is like the organ donation day, where we have people lined up. Like, people are getting life-changing phone calls right now. Like, your life just changed, but these people's lives are gonna change too. Like, it was a lot. And then they sent us home. So then Sunday we were like, how are we supposed to sit at home and wait? Like, this is crazy. She's just laying there. Like, and we actually messaged the ICU nurse from Friday night. And we're like, oh, like, thank you so much for everything you did. And she said, I'm working tonight if you wanna come. Like, what? Like, they told us we couldn't come. And she's like, no, just come. She's like, I'll vouch for you, whatever you need, just come. She's like, it's fine. So she let us even come Sunday night and just sit with her. We went at like 9 o'clock at night and just sat with her as long as we wanted. And it was so good because nobody put pressure on us to leave, and nobody was like, oh, like, they're here again. Like, they were just so good. And then Monday morning was her Hero Day, and we got to walk her down the hallway to the operating room and say goodbye. And we had like the chaplain was there with us. It was just really, I mean, awful, but the way that they go about it so respectfully was like really nice to see, because we didn't know what to expect, and they were awesome. And we actually get to meet her right kidney recipient this weekend, so we're very excited to meet him and nervous.
Yes, she went.
When was it? Sunday. I was like, oh, I had that on Tuesday, and then crap, now Lifeline's gonna come record us. She was like, you better get your eyebrows done. Like, Mom will spite you. So I called in on my eyebrow. It's so good. I know, it's so good. Look at that. A little bit.
Like, it was meant to be there.
Yes, it's so good right there. Like, it's such a good spot. I love it. I'm glad we went with like around that. It's awesome. Yeah, I love that. We actually let the kids call her because we were like, you know, we firmly believed that she could hear us the whole time. Like, a lot of people are like, oh no, like she's gone. No, we're like, here she is. Like, we're talking to her, we're playing music for her. We're gonna let the kids call and talk to her because they're too little to come. They could not see her like that anyways. And so we're like, let's call. And I remember on Hero Day, they just told us, like, you each need to take your time and go have a moment with her by yourself. And I remember just like not even believing that it was the last moment I would like touch her and see her and just know, like, my mom's right there and she's not gone. And just telling her how much I loved her and like wanted to be like her and how I just want to make her proud every day. And no matter what, like, I wouldn't let my little girl forget her because she was only 3 when everything happened, and they were just the best of friends. And just reassuring her that, like, she will know her, and I will make sure that she knows her every day, no matter what I do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jodie, thank you so much for being a part of my project and allowing me to incorporate my thoughts and feelings into this piece just as much as they were yours. And I hope that it continues your healing process and reminds you of how beautiful your mom was and still is. And I'm just very grateful for you.